Do you find eating healthy hard? Do you find it time consuming? Do you find that you overcomplicate it? If you feel any of those things, the end result is you probably don't eat healthy, or you can just eat a little bit more healthy. My name is Kayla Jukic. If you're new, if you're not, welcome back. I am a certified personal trainer through NASM, as well as a certified online fitness and nutrition coach. And today I'm here to share with you some tips to make healthy eating easier. Let's jump into it. The number one tip that I have for you is the most basic one. You've probably heard it a million times, but I'm going to tell you how to succeed with it and how to go about it, and that is meal prepping full meals. I mean, honestly, without thinking, having food already prepped and ready for you obviously makes your life easier. But the issue that a lot of people have is, one, they don't know what to make, and two, they just don't make the time for it. So my suggestion to you is go on Pinterest, go on Instagram, go on YouTube. There is a ton of resources for you to find healthy meals. In my opinion, for somebody to say, they don't know what to eat is almost a little bit of an excuse, because there is a ton of resources. We live in a world of social media, and you can find anything you want anywhere. You probably spend hours a day on Instagram anyways. Just go to the search tab and put healthy meals, or put in healthy meal prep, or search meal prep ideas, meal prep recipes, recipe ideas, healthy recipes. There is just a ton of different things that you can search, and it will give you results. You can also refer to my YouTube, so make sure you're subscribed to me if you're not already. As well, you can refer to my Instagram at Kayla Jukic. I post a ton of ideas about food as well as recipe videos. I honestly get most of my ideas from either Instagram or Pinterest. Those are my two. On my Pinterest page, I have literally made a board that is just labeled food, and I save everything that I find that I want to try in there. Once you've found a meal or a recipe that you want to make, what I suggest to you is actually sitting down and writing a grocery list. Do this the night before you do groceries. So if you're like me and you go grocery shopping on Sundays, sit down some point on Saturday and write a grocery list of all the ingredients that you need from that meal or recipe that you want to make. If you have most of the things in your kitchen or household already, that's perfect. If not, write down everything else that you need to pick up. I always write my grocery list on my notes in my phone, just because it's so much easier for me. I'm taking my phone everywhere I go, and I just have my phone in my hand while I'm grocery shopping, and I just delete things or I check them off as I put them in my cart. This is a huge key point, because if you go into a grocery store without a plan, without a grocery list, that pretty much just sets yourself up for almost failure, because you don't know what to buy, and there is just so many options. If you're mindlessly grocery shopping without a list, you're gonna wander, you're gonna end up putting things in your cart that you probably don't need, that are unnecessary, and are gonna be either a waste of food or a waste of money. And the second kind of note to go off of that is pick a time to do your meal prep, whether that is a Sunday evening, a Monday morning. Honestly, I feel like people think that meal prepping takes hours and hours and hours. It really doesn't. It can really take you maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours, maybe even less than that. The second tip that I have for you to make healthy eating easier is to batch cook your food. And you might be saying, like, Kayla, didn't you just say in tip number 1 to meal prep? Yes, I did, but that is not what I mean when I say to batch cook your food. Batch cooking food is more so making individual food versus meal prep, which is prepping all of the food together. Now, what do I mean by that? If you are a picky person, or you just like changing your food up, you don't like eating the same thing for, a whole week, if you batch cook your food, you can use it in different ways. So an example would be batch cooking, a whole bunch of chicken breast, season it, cook it how you want, batch cook a whole bunch of rice. So you're getting protein from the chicken and you're getting carbs from your rice. Pack it in Tupperware containers and leave it in your fridge. When you get hungry, there's actually so many things you can do. You can be basic and just have chicken and rice for lunch, or maybe you can put chicken and rice in a burrito and kind of add some veggies and kind of make it like a burrito taco type of thing. Or on the flip side, if you also batch cook veggies, maybe you can throw it all together and make it a stir fry. So the idea is almost still like meal prepping, but it leaves a little bit more of creativity for you to change up your meals on a day-to-day basis versus meal prepping, which is kind of eating the same thing. you're making the same batch and packing it away and having that same lunch or dinner or whatever it is for 3, 4, 5 days. My third tip for you is to cut, wash, and pack your fruits and vegetables right away when you get back from the grocery store. This is a huge pro tip for so many reasons. Number one, you're taking the work that you would be doing during the week. Say you're working from home and you need to, go wash your fruit and vegetables. It takes time away from the time that you could be spending on prepping your food or actually eating your food before you go back to your work or to sit at the desk or whatever it is you're doing. But if you've already washed those fruits and vegetables, when you got back from grocery shopping on that Sunday night or that Sunday morning, whenever it is, on Tuesday when you go to reach in the fridge, for a handful of blueberries, they're already ready for you to eat. And this honestly makes snacking a whole lot easier. I find people struggle when it comes to snacking because they don't have things that are readily available to them. When those fruits and veggies are already cut, washed, and prepped, you're more inclined to actually eat those things than versus, grabbing the processed food or the bars or the chips or whatever it is. In the moment, you don't want to cut those things and you don't want to do the work for it. So if you do the work for yourself ahead of time, you're just setting yourself up for success. Now, the fourth tip that I have for you kind of ties into the idea of the fruits and vegetables, but on the opposite spectrum. And that tip is to stock up on frozen fruits and vegetables. One thing I've learned and something you can probably relate to is nowadays produce doesn't last for very long. It doesn't stay fresh for very long and it becomes a waste of money and food. A lot of people for some reason have this idea that frozen fruit and vegetables is not healthy for you, and I don't know why, because it's just in a different state. It's the same nutritional value. It's just literally frozen. I don't know. To me, it's like you drink water, but then ice. It's just water that's frozen, right? And the advantage is that it lasts a lot longer than fresh fruit. Moving into the fifth tip that I have for you, and that is making food swaps. Now, whether you track your calories and macros or you don't do that, this tip actually works for both types of people. And it's just this idea of just taking an extra second to think about the food that you're purchasing and the food that you're putting into your body. I have a couple examples for you. Let's start with number one, a salad. On one hand, there's an oil vinegar dressing that you can put on this salad, or on the other hand, you can have a very creamy, pre-packed dressing from a grocery store. When you think about these two, without even looking at the label, you should be able to tell which one is more calorically dense. If you guess the creamy dressing for the salad to be more calorically dense, you're right. Naturally, cream sauces and condiments are more calorically dense because they have a higher fat content. So that could be one swap for you. If you're currently having, a creamy ranch dressing for your salad, maybe opt for a vinegar oil-based dressing or a balsamic vinegar dressing. That is such an easy little food swap to save some calories. The second example I have for you is in terms of what you use for cooking. On one hand, you can use like ghee butter or an oil spray, or you can use butter. Again, without even looking, most people know that butter is more calorically dense because of the high fat content. So switching to something like a spray from Pam would be a good idea. Another example is a sandwich. If you have mashed avocado or mayo, which one do you think is better? This one's a little bit of a trick question because avocado can be a little bit higher in fat, but if you're thinking in terms of nutritional value, you would get more micronutrients in that avocado for your sandwich than you would mayo. So that's a good food swap. And the last example that I have for you is drinking. So you have pop and you have water. Which one do you think is better for you? Of course, the answer is water. Now, I'm not saying that you can't drink pop. If you're drinking 4 pops or Cokes or Pepsis a day and you're drinking no water, well, I'm sorry to tell you, that is just you not making smart choices. You don't have to stop completely drinking pop, but have 1 pop a day and replace the rest of it with water. The 6th tip that I have for you is making your meals last. This one kind of ties in with meal prepping, but it's more in the sense that if you don't necessarily like meal prepping for, 3, 4, 5 5 days, at least do it for like 2 days. So for example, if you're making chicken and rice for dinner, double that recipe so that you can have that chicken and rice leftovers for lunch the next day. This is such an easy way to make your healthy eating easier because it's not taking you extra time to make the food because you're just doing the same recipe, you're just doing more of it. And this idea kind of ties into the idea of repurposing your food. What I mean by that is if you have leftover veggies, pack it up and then the next day reuse them in a different way. Put them in a stir fry, make a taco out of it, make chili, whatever it is, use those leftovers for a new meal. And last but definitely not least, the 7th tip that I have for you is to eat at a table. You might be wondering, like, Kayla, what are you talking about? Sitting at a table versus, sitting maybe at your couch watching TV are two different whole experiences. When you sit at a table, whether it be your dinner table, the island in your kitchen, whatever it is, there's a less likely chance of you to be distracted because there's nothing around you. It's just you and the table and the chair that you're sitting on. And this allows you and gives you a chance to actually focus in on your food, focus in on how you feel, and honestly just make you feel very mindful and in the moment with your food. My husband and I have a bad habit of this because we do live in a condo. We don't have much space. So we sit at a small table, on our couch and we watch TV for dinner and it gets very distracting. When you do that, there is so many more chances of you to overeat, to mindlessly eat, and honestly just not feel satisfied with your food because there's so many other things going on that you can't focus on your food. I hope all of these tips make sense to you and help you and just have opened up your eyes and given you another perspective about how to approach your nutrition and healthy eating. If you have any questions, please make sure to comment them down below, or as always, send me a DM on IG. If you like this type of video, please let me know. I do want to be a little bit more educational when it comes to, my videos. Make sure to subscribe to me down below if you haven't already. Give this video a big thumbs up. That lets me know you enjoy this content and it helps my channel out, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.